We are ready, guys, down there. Welcome back to the beach. Welcome back to the party in Portimao. We are in the we're in the Grand Masters men's final here. Great Britain in the white, Spain in the blue. The first pull has just gone up. Stu Mitchell to Paul Adkins for the first pass. Adkins down the beach to Weeks. A pick called back in the field. Tom Stiles alongside Benjamin Rees in the sunshine as the action from the Algarve continues here. The European Beach Ultimate Championships. Benji, we've got a good tight-fought game. What can you tell us about the two teams as they come into this final gold medal match?
They've both had very different routes to get here, Tom. GB have pretty much blown everyone away. The closest they've come was against Germany. Both times they played them, they won 13-6, and the Spanish lost their initial placement game to Germany. The format of the tournament means they were then in the low pool where they smashed everyone, only conceded 14 goals across the 4 games, and they fought their way up through the quarters and the semis to take their final place against the Brits.
Shipley to McGowan. McGowan looking to score quickly here. Goes back to Mitchell. Mitchell looking for options, sees Weeks. The disc just catches, but there's no Spanish defenders nearby, and Weeks snags that disc in for the first point to Great Britain.
Nice, smooth stuff there from the Brits. When we streamed their first game against Germany earlier in the week, they didn't turn it over till, if you excuse the pun here, the latter throws of the game. And good start there, nice clean point for the Brits. And when they play at their best, they are so difficult to stop, and that's why no teams really come close. But said going into this, they hadn't played the Spanish, and they were excited firstly to play a different team, and also they, after seeing their results this tournament, as we see the replay of that catch from Cy Weeks, they're excited to see a slightly different challenge, and they reckon this will be a pretty close game.
Yeah, they were very excited to be playing a new team, I think, as well, because they've played a couple of teams twice in this tournament. And Spain, they look good, they look fast. They came into the quarter-final stage as the 6th seeded team. And they, like you say, they battered teams in that bottom bracket, having lost that opening game. But they start on offense, their first pass. Martin. Nice disc through to Rodriguez. Cross to Schmid. Yuri Schmid. And his disc goes back into the sand.
There is a stoppage, a little bit of contact maybe downfield. Looks like the 75-year-old Alexis Martin Rodriguez talking with number 11 from Great Britain, Dave Barnard. But they decided that that's not going to affect the play. The turnover is going to stand in the backfield. Although half of the players seem to think one thing and half seem to think another. Maybe it's not a slight lack of communication there.
Yeah, wind's really a factor in this game. It's a cross wind coming from the camera side of the field straight across to the grandstands opposite. Whitehouse now to Grayson. Dan Berry just flutters that off the fingers, and Whitehouse is alert and catches up with the disc, keeping it alive for Great Britain. Grayson coming back underneath. Berry in the end zone, accelerates away and almost spikes the disc before tossing it sideways.
Yeah, Berry plucked out that disc there. And his bacon was saved a little earlier in the point there by Rob Whitehouse, but this is partly why this GB side is so good, because when you have this level of experience and this level of ultimate knowledge, you know that you always have to have your head on a swivel, keep your wits about you, because you don't know when tips are going to happen. In this wind, often, if you just catch the edge of the disc, it's going to go back up in the air, so you always have to be alert for that chance at a second effort play, and Whitehouse did that there, and in the end he assisted to Berry for the goal and a 2-0 GB lead.
Dan Berry, in preparation for this tournament, well, I'm not sure in preparation for this tournament, but his fitness is at an unbelievable level. He ran a 125-kilometre mountain race in Italy 3 weeks ago and finished 24th in just 20 hours. 125 kilometres in 20 hours.
24th out of how many?
I don't think that matters, does it?
No, I actually agree. I was just curious.
Yeah, well, you don't have that stat. The Spanish moving the disc nicely now through Rodriguez. Deep shot downfield, but it's going to drift out of bounds. Watching it away is Mike Palmer, and he's going to walk that disc up, just shielding the disc as it went down the sideline. If the defender touches the disc, then the disc becomes active at that point in the field. So Palmer just trying to make sure he got the most advantage he could. Dave Bixler looking at Dave Seeley, Dave Barnard, Wayne Davey, and Mike Palmer. So almost the full Dave line.
You never go full Dave, that's what they say.
Just Dave Grayson missing to make the full Dave line.
We did see them try the Dave line in the second game we streamed, but not quite putting it out of the bag just yet.
Barnard spins the disc into the sky. Underneath it is Seeley. Oh, but better reading of the disc from the number 12 shirt. Santana gets the turnover for Spain. Need to get the disc back in play. What a grab. I know he's a ground strip. As soon as he hit the ground, Uwe Schmid, great spirit from the player out of Berlin, currently living in Spain. Wayne Davey, 52 years old, across the field to Palmer. Picks himself up off the sand and tries to flip it into the end zone. Schmid got a fingertip to it, but still catched, still caught, and Davey running free at the far corner, sprightly and speedy, getting away from his defender.
I'm not sure that throw from Bolton really deserved to be caught. It was fluttery, but he did a good job practicing, making sure he got both hands towards it, rather than try and snag one edge, making sure it's to get one hand underneath it so he can cause a little barrier to stop it, and then nice continuation to the break side. I just want to compliment the exemplary spirit here on this toe-in from the sideline. It's a fantastic job from Schmidt to get his feet in bounds, and Palmer, who's there, the defender, immediately applauds him and calls him in, but then Schmidt immediately returns the favour by showing that he ground slipped himself, and it was a turnover. Lovely spirit on display from both sides, and we mentioned Schmidt, originally from Berlin, played for Wall City, now he lives in Las Palmas on Gran Canaria, which is a beautiful island, and he's played for Germany mixed in the past, and he's represented Spain at the mixed Masters, Masters mixed, and now at the Grandmaster level. So a wealth of international experience under his belt, as there is for a majority of these players here, Tom.
Spain coming out on offense again. Santana, downfield pass is quick. There's an opportunity to score deep. Rolf almost had it covered, but would have been interested to see that battle. Instead, the Spanish bring it back round, and then they send a deep disc. Hovering, flying in the sky. Just a tip off, but it couldn't be contained. Outstretched hands from Sergi Castillo. Brings it down under control in Spanish hands, and they first hold of the game for the Spanish offense. They trail 3-1, but such great work being aware as that disc popped up off the Great Britain defender.
It feels a little bit unfair to ask him to catch his D there. He did very well just to get to it, but we talked about how you have to be alert to tips and overthrows and second chance efforts here, and Rob Whitehouse does a great job just to make up that ground, but all he can do is just mack it back into the sky, and getting two hands for a comfortable clap catch in the end. Rolf puts it head in his hands, exasperated. Maybe if he'd followed the play as well, he could have had a chance at it, but the disc was sat, so it went over his head. He could only watch as Whitehouse made a valiant effort, but just not quite enough for Great Britain.
Great Britain making a very fast start in this game. The Spanish needing to put some pressure back on as they come out on defense. Middle of the end zone to Mitchell and Paul Adkins. Fusion mainstay for so many years, playing for Great Britain as well. Simon Weeks into the middle of the field. Stu Mitchell has it again. Paul Adkins on this near side, running free. Some poachy defensive positions from the Spanish, but into the end zone. Cy Weeks jogs onto it, and an easy takedown for a 4-1 lead.
Goal and assist already this game for Cy Weeks. He's one of their main contributors, at least in terms of the stats. He had 7 assists and 9 goals coming into this tournament, but they're pretty evenly spread all round. Rick Shipley's the lowest stat getter on this team, and even he's got 7 to his name. And if there are one particular player you want to pick out doing anything, Dave Seeley's their leading goal scorer. He's got 12, Sihill's got 14 assists, but everyone's capable of doing everything on this team, and that's partly why they're so difficult to stop.
Yeah, there's no weak links here. Interesting that so many of these players, there's 4 of this Great Britain team playing gold medal games that started playing at St Vincent College in Gosport, and they put that down to Emily Pointney, who was a former GB player herself. She hadn't taken a job as a psychology teacher at the college in 1994. Then Barnard, Weeks, Haynes and Sam Bowen probably wouldn't be here this week.
Yeah, Haynes and Bowen both playing in the Open final tomorrow. Oh, Seeley's a tall figure, but that just popped up over him, and Spain happy to collect it at the second attempt.
Mayada, no, it's not Mayada. It was in the hands of Rodriguez. Now across to Santana. Martin. Big pile of humanity up the front of the end zone as Dan Berry apologises, stumbling across the defender, struggling across the Spanish player. They pull each other to their feet. No hard feelings, and we'll get on with the play. Disc with Martin on the edge of the end zone for Spain.
I did love the way that Santana, he was always looking for the inside break, telegraphed it a bit, and when he got it off, pointed to the stands. A real crowd pleaser, that one.
Scuba in downwind. It just died away from Alberto Rodriguez. Nothing he could do.
And you can see that Rodriguez was trying to chase it, but the wind just pushed it away. It came out a little bit flat, maybe slightly more vertical, could have cut across, but always pushed away towards that far sideline, and the movie disc man couldn't bring it in.
Grayson has found his passport, made his way here. Seeley back to Grayson. 2 Daves not connecting this time, giving it back to Spain. That's the first turnover for Great Britain. Sends it into the end zone. This time, no mistake. Mayada, Albert Mayada, number 2 shirt, back of the end zone for that catch.
Mayada doing a very good job getting both hands on it. Sometimes it's awkward as well when you land, you can somehow let it slip through your fingers, but able to bring the catch on that one. Mayada's been playing for 12 years. He lives in a small little village in the Pyrenees called, I'm going to try and pronounce this properly, Villaye, and he plays his club ultimate with Peixets in Barcelona when he started, and he's got a couple of Spirit Awards to his name. We saw the Spanish Women's Masters take home the gold and the Spirit Award as well, and Mayada won Spirit Awards at 2 different World Beach Championships in Lignano and a couple of years ago in Royan.
Lignano Sabbiadoro, the Italian heat wave hitting the beaches there when we played that tournament back in 2011. 2011, yeah, it was, I remember 37 degrees of heat and people sleeping out in the open to try and get any sort of shelter. Shipley to Hill to get this Great Britain team off to a start. Big gainer to Bolton, who sends that fake and then resets to Weeks. Back to Shipley. Shipley continues the flow to Hill. Hill, Chief Executive of UK Ultimate. Back to Shipley and back to Hill again. Looking to the back corner, sends it to Weeks. Weeks jogs free. Nothing you can do to contain Simon Weeks. Such a powerful cutter. Number 4 shirt, pretty unstoppable this week on the sand.
We've talked about the numerous days, but the 2 Sais connecting there, and I always find it interesting when you see Sai play Ultimate, because obviously now we just see him as the head of UKU, but he's such an accomplished player, and he's not short of fire when he's on the pitch either. You see him there stick his hands in the air in celebration. See how much this means to the players on the sand. And what lovely sand it is here. Beautiful conditions at the Praia da Rocha, Portimao, here on the south coast of Portugal. The wind's died down a little bit now. There's nary a cloud in the sky, just picture perfect conditions. You cannot ask for a more picturesque scenario than this, Tom Stiles.
Well, the wind was such a big factor early in the week, and it was blowing at the start of this final as well, but it's gone away now as that big pull from Great Britain rolls through the back of the end zone. Spanish have to take it from where it lands unless it rolls out of the field. Stayed in play there. It's a great pull, and they're still only just out of their own end zone now. Oh, it's a nice pass forward, but slightly too far ahead. And Maeda. And coming back to pick up now, Mike Palmer.
So yeah, the shot there from our cameraman for this game, Mike Palmer.
Rolf is going to have to watch as this one disappears out of the side of the end zone. Overthrow from Rob Whitehouse. And perhaps he was expecting that wind that's been so present throughout this game to provide a little bit more resistance, but it's completely died away. In the last 5 minutes, the conditions have changed entirely.
Just didn't have quite enough inside-out shape on that throw. Could have done with tilting that disc a little bit, having that outside edge towards the ground, and that would have altered the flight path, sent it back in towards the pitch at the end.
Just the two breaks between these sides at the moment. The Spanish trying to come downfield. Mike Palmer's got position here. Oh, waves at it, but the Spanish come up with the disc. It's Luis Schmid who takes that big grab for the hockey assist, and Alexis Martin, the grateful recipient of the short pass for the score.
Yeah, Martin coming out of Lanzarote, doing a good job there. Was beaten for position. The GB defender was able to get underneath it, but just used the height mismatch. Did the receiver, I think it's Uwe Schmidt, comes over the top and has the presence of mind to set himself and just pop that pass over the fallen fourth into the end zone, and that's good use of his full 25 years of experience there from Schmidt.
Really impressive stuff.
So Spain choosing their defensive assignments, trying to work out if they can pick some favourable matchups. They have to get some breaks on the Brits. Some wave goes on in the stands, and fielding the ball for Great Britain is number 34, Stu Mitchell.
Cy Hill for Great Britain, down to Paul Adkins. Cy Weeks. Bolton running deep, and a bit of a charge. Quesada knocking Cy Weeks to the ground.
Just a little bit too close on the force. They're desperate to stop anything going upfield, but got a little greedy.
47-year-old out of Barcelona runs after Cy Weeks. Cy Hill takes that. Still got quite a lot of Spanish. He's got quite a lot of Spaniard on his back still as he tries to stand up. Not making any sort of call, just taking the advantage. Points to the front of the end zone, and apology comes. Cy Hill just battling hard to keep the disc alive. He had real determination on his face there.
And then there was no real dump there for Cy Hill in that last pass. He was looking around at the end zone. In the end, he had no other option but just to jam it in the jam on that little push pass to the front corner to Stu Mitchell.
And during this finals, it's important to remember all the people who have supported the teams who come out here. The GB great Grandmasters have asked us to do a couple of shout-outs to the families back home. Paul Atkins says hello to Daniel and Jennifer Sophie. Rick Shipley says hello to Megan and Bronnie. Rob McGowan says hello to Ned and Barney. Dave Grayson, please can you say hello to Joanna and Caitlin, and they should be doing their homework. Stu Mitchell says hi to Holly and Jake, and Cy Hill says hello to Emily and Sam. Dan Berry wishes best to Lee and Lauren. Ben Roth says hi to Freddie and Monty. Dave Seeley to Luke and Joe, and Mike Palmer to Maya and Nina. The full GB Grandmaster dad line.
Now, I appreciate that I'm not a dad, but I think just for once you should take my advice and not do your homework and watch this game instead.
Okay.
I give you permission.
If there's a time not to do your homework, it's when your dad's on the live stream.
Playing in a European final.
Playing in a European final.
It's a little bit of bumping downfield. Looks like Dave Grayson in conversation with the number 5 for Spain, Rodriguez. Rodriguez, a former windmill champion with Mubi Disc in the mixed division back in 2012.
Martin, downfield to the aforementioned Rodriguez. back into the big hands of Santana, exchanging discs again with Rodriguez, and back to Santana once more. I'm not sure what that was aimed at, but it came up the wrong way out. And Grayson picks up, gets a travel called, he's back in. Play just keeps moving. Grayson, and a hand block from the big number 5, Alberto Rodriguez.
One hand block for GB, and then Spain get it right back, and they're going to put it deep.
What a take from the Spanish, hand block and an assist for Rodriguez. The big rundown from Uwe Schmidt. And huge point for the Spanish. They're still within 2, not letting Great Britain run away with this one.
I thought when Great Britain got the block on that high pass near the force, it was going to be curtains for the Spanish, but did an excellent job getting low, getting that hand right down there, tip it, and wasting no time, striking while the iron was hot and putting it deep, and it was a fantastic bid from Uwe Schmidt, bringing it in with an outstretched hand, and we see there the tip on the force just goes to ground, and there's no chance at it. Can't think of many better bookends than that. Hand block, immediately put it deep with a beautiful backhand for the score.
So the Great Britain offensive line have not been turned over. The Spanish offensive line have been turned over 6 times. And that's the difference between these two teams at the moment. The Spanish are fighting hard to stay in this game. As we see Great Britain's O-line again with Mitchell and Adkins. Weeks now, Bolton cupping underneath, and he gets the disc in his hands at the moment. Sends it to Adkins, Adkins runs on and he jumps into the end zone. So efficient, so effective, devastating as they take the half, 7-4 up against the Spanish.
It's just so easy for them, it looks like at times. And we've seen Adkins make a spectacular catch off a hammer on the stream already this week, but that time didn't need to do so. The hard work was done in creating that separation, and nice, pleasing play there for Great Britain, taking the half up a couple of breaks, 7-4, but Spain are playing them relatively close. This is probably going to be the toughest game they've had all week, and that's exactly what you want in the final. You want a nice, tight contest.
Well, they do relish a big challenge. You could see the competitive nature of all these players. And both sides look in absolutely fantastic shape, don't they? They're really sprinting around on the field. So Wayne Davey, the senior athlete for Great Britain at 52. The Grandmasters division starts for 40 and over.
He's great Grandmasters eligible, but still good enough to play with this Grandmasters team. And if you've got that chemistry, it doesn't matter about that upper age bracket necessarily.
Rodriguez gets it across to Martin. And Rodriguez has it back now. Exchange discs with Santana. This Spanish O-line connecting well. Rolf on the D for Great Britain. Can he stop a pass forward? Not quite got enough clearance, but a smart movement and maybe a show of the eyes from Schmidt. But the disc is thrown away. Great Britain moving it quickly. Rolf has it as the wind picks right back up again. Very strong blowing across the field. It's going to hang in the air. Mike Palmer's chasing it. Just runs out of legs. Not quite got the same burst of speed. Chasing that disc down.
It's one of those plays where maybe at the start of the week, when you've got all the juice in your legs, you can make that. But as the week goes on, as the sun beats down here, Praia da Rocha just not quite able to get the necessary juice, seemingly not solar powered on this occasion. Where's this wind come back from? It's been so changeable this game.
Very much has. Passing into the middle of their own end zone. The Spanish really looking at no options further upfield. Mike Palmer chasing that one down. Big disc deep from Rodriguez, running it down, but it's over the head. Sergi Castillo lets it drop to the sand.
We talked about how stat distribution was pretty even across the GB team. Not quite so for the same. They've definitely got players who are noted threats. Quite a few players have got multiple assists. Rodriguez has got 19, Santana has 15, 13 for Schmid, and main goal scorer is Mayada, who's got a couple already with 11. 12 for Miguel Angel Suarez, and 13 for Fugay.
Whitehouse runs through down the line. Palmer available for the reset. Chasing deep is Wayne Davey down the line. Oh, Davey comes back underneath. Bixler's gone long. Davey sends it to Bixler, and he just runs and catches it. Salmons himself out of the back of the end zone, but it's another point for Great Britain. Starting the second half with a break.
That's a play that's all about the persistence of Wayne Davey. He really went deep, and rather than see that wasn't coming, just kind of meandered back into the middle. He churned back underneath. Really got a lot of yardage on that underneath cut. And you see Davey with that white-looking golf glove on his left hand just drive it down the fairway to Bixler in the back of the end zone for the goal.
Yeah, Bixler with a great point there.
Crowd getting a little bit rowdy. Some spectators trying to get a wave going. Do with a little bit more practice, that one, I think.
Oh, the sunshine bakes down on the Portuguese sand, light and fluffy. No rain here for the last few weeks. We've had a tiny bit of drizzle during the week, but all of that's gone, leaving this stunning surface for the athletes of the European ultimate scene to show their skill. One more final from the Masters divisions for you this afternoon, the Mixed Masters final. But here in the Grandmaster men's final, it's Spain and Great Britain. Spanish move the disc from Martin. Upfield, and a complete miscommunication. Uwe Schmidt coming back underneath. Cy Hill can't go that high. Dave Seeley sends the disc into the wind, and straight away, quick reaction from the Spanish. They're going to need an extra pass to get it into the end zone. They're not quite there yet. Defence from Great Britain, and frustration as Great Britain know they should have scored that. No, they should have prevented that score, but the Spanish really getting it, working it in. You can see Dan Berry's frustration there, Benji.
Yeah, not short of frustration in that GB side. They know that they're not necessarily playing their best, but they did put the effort in, tried to get a layout block on the force to stop the disc going up, but couldn't get the job done. And in the end, the deep put when Seeley put his hands in the air, but never really was able to locate the disc. And
smart handling. Another great high grab from Mayada. Goes to Grant, can't quite get the, Mike Palmer points at the sand, can't quite get the hand up. Corey Malone looked like he'd got the grab, but as he hit the sand, came out of the hand. Palmer sends it deep, Berry underneath, it's gonna have to come back underneath. Both of them miss it, and Seeley's there to sweep up the garbage and take the point for Great Britain, and it looks like the two players on the floor might have hurt themselves. No, they all jump up, just frustration from the Spanish.
I'm pretty sure that's not quite what GB drew up, having two players bid past it and having waiting to the massive hands of Dave Seeley, but hey, whatever works, I guess. 10-5 the current scoreline. Saw Malone die for that bid here. He listed sporting hero as former NFL quarterback Ken the Snake Stabler, but the disc just snaked out of his hands, couldn't keep it on, and immediately bidding it deep, trying to pounce, capitalize quickly on the turnover with the Brits, and it just about worked for them.
This Great Britain side between them have 361 years of playing experience. They have 50 national titles, including 10 indoor national titles, 54 European titles, and 4 world titles. 4 of the players have been playing together for 21 years. Cy Hill, Weeks, Mitchell, and Dave Barnard. They played at Worlds together in 1998. Spanish send up a big disc. Grayson goes underneath it. It's caught safely in the hands of Chang. Chang looking for something to reset, eventually finds the disc back to Rodriguez. Rodriguez across the end zone, Chang's available and he takes down the disc in the front corner. Quicker from Spain, more effective from Spain, but still a huge deficit to make up here. They trail Great Britain by 4 points by way of those big 4 breaks at the start of each half. 2 breaks at the start of each half, Benji.
Chang did a very good job there. He trapped the disc and he read it early, got in position, and it meant that the defender had to come, try and get an inside path, and it just meant the disc went over his head, did a good job resetting and catching it in the corner for the goal. Chang originally out of Austin, Texas, and maybe that speed of the sun is partly a tribute to his personal trainer, his dog, Lila. That's my kind of personal trainer.
Yeah, currently a physicist based out of Barcelona, playing with this Spanish team. Disc in the air, ready to send down the ball. The Spanish D-line looking to do something to stop the flow of this Great Britain offense. Atkins to Bolton. Bolton looks deep for Weeks. Weeks is jinking and jiving in the deep space as the disc comes back via Mitchell and Hill. Oh, and that's the first turnover for Great Britain's offense. Not a hammer that Cy Hill will want to remember.
Yeah, looks to the sky. Know that he got a little bit overzealous with that one.
Oh, the grab came out of the back of the hand. Corey Malone sticks it. You see how Great Britain are now desperately trying to get the disc back. Atkins gets that big paw up and macks that away off the side of the field, and it's
potential stall out called here, certainly high in the source. That's why the disc went deep from Malone, was just trying to get rid of it and gain some field position. Maybe someone can make a play downfield. This is nice awareness as well by Paul Atkins, because he can hear that stall going and he knows that on a high stall that disc is probably going to go up, so he's ready for it. He can get that hand in the way and
because the turnovers happened anyway. I think Stu Mitchell has retracted the stall-out call. Doesn't want to argue about it. Disc is going to stay with Great Britain. Out of the field, Cy Hill. Chance for redemption after his wayward hammer. Mitchell into the end zone, and Cy Weeks there sweeping it up. Another point for Weeks, his 4th of the game.
Malone a little bit guilty of just being too flat on the force. Generally, you want to really get around and take away one option. Sometimes teams do force that flat and straight up, and they'll adjust their positioning downfield. They'll often sit underneath, really challenging those deep shots to go. But generally, you want to force in one direction, force the direction of play to go in one field, and that's where your defenders are set up. So the idea is the offensive cutters downfield are already running into you, and you've got the position. But if you get too neutral on the force, and you don't really end up taking away anything, and it means the disc can go onto the break side where there's no defense and the catches are relatively easy.
Just looking at our stats for this game, Great Britain, the offensive line have never taken more than 8 passes to score. It just doesn't. It means they're not getting tired. It means they're not losing energy. They've never looked out of breath when they're putting the disc in. It's the first turnover they've had, but they fought to get it back.
Yeah, when they did turn it over, it was only a couple of lateral passes anyway.
Quesada, big fake from the 93 shirt of Jackal. Now gets it forward into the hands of Rodriguez. Good yardage gain. Santana, back to Rodriguez. That's a great penetrating disc. Downfield to Quesada again. Santana. Little dump pass back to Rodriguez. Flick across, it's going to go over the head of Quesada and into the sand. Whitehouse floats the disc into Shipley. And Shipley maybe a little surprised to have the disc in his hand at all after that pass from Rob Whitehouse. Just pushes it into the sand. This D-line not quite as efficient as they will want to have been at the start of this game. They've given the Spanish plenty of chances to come back into it when they've been on the field. Rodriguez gets it across to Chang and gives it back. Low release, point. What a grab! Oh! Outside of the end zone. Derek Chang not quite getting the point for Spain just yet. Looking for a very short dump pass. Chang continues the run and again takes it down. Second point for Chang in the 21 shirt for Spain.
I'm not entirely sure how Chang caught that first disc on the end zone line that was behind him. I'm not necessarily sure he was either just stuck out that hand and somehow it stayed in his grasp. And again, this is a couple of times we've seen him catch the disc on the end zone line, and rather than force it in, he's happy to go laterally or you lose a bit of yardage to keep the disc going and in momentum, and then striking back to this near side cone with the defender caught on their heels.
So the score is 11-7. Score is 11-7. Quite sure quite why our scoreboard on the screen is quite so out. Mitchell to Weeks. Weeks downfield to Hill. Hill gets it through to Shipley. Shipley across to Bolton, down the line to Weeks, and a point to take them within one of the victory here.
Spain have already scored more against them than any other side has this tournament as the wind really whips up, but it's telling that even against opposition of this quality, they're still relatively in control. Things really opened up here with that break from Hill. You see, by the fact he ended up on the floor, how wide and low he had to get to squeeze that inside-out shot through, and in the end, the around backhand from Bolton was right on the money to that far corner, and now great game point for Great Britain. If they can punch it in here, they will be the gold medalists in this Grandmasters division.
Yes, the scoreboard on our screen is absolutely spot on. It's we have a little issue up in the commentary booth, but that's fine. You're seeing the right numbers there. 12-7 is the score. And Great Britain, favourites coming into this tournament. Dominant performances throughout. 1 point away from confirming their position at the top of the European ultimate scene in the Grandmaster men's division. The solid figure of Dave Barnard opens the shoulders and pulls, as he has done so many times for Great Britain throughout his career, downfield, and then goes to put a big force on there. Barnard trying to get the stall count up. It gets a big bash on the body of his Spanish opponent. No call from Spain. Lands in the hand of Bixler to Grayson. Ben Rolfe now. Barnard back to Grayson. Grayson sends it downfield with a floaty one to Rolfe. Front of the end zone, not quite in yet. They're trying to find space through. Back to Seeley. No, it's going to go into the end zone, and Bixler's there, and Great Britain have done it. Defeating the Spanish in emphatic style. 13-7, they win this one. Impressive performances across the board, but Cy Weeks with his 5 points during the game, really impressive.
Great Britain were always the favourites going into the weekend, going into this game. Spain pushed them closer than any other team was able to, but it's just testament to the quality of this Great British Grandmasters side. A 6-point margin of victory was the closest they had all weekend, and they were best all week and on the day, although Spain put in a very creditable performance, showed why they definitely deserved to be here on this stage. They just didn't quite have enough to match this Great Britain side.
Yeah, Spain deserve a massive amount of credit for playing the tournament the way they have. They lost their opening game, they thrashed everybody in the lower pool, and then came into the quarterfinals as a 6th seed, finding their way to this final spot. And a silver medal will take home. They'll be delighted with their week's work. We've got more action coming to you right now. The mixed Masters final will be coming up very shortly. And then we've got action from 4 finals tomorrow. The men's Masters, the mixed men's and women's finals, all coming to you on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, and also on the Olympic channel and the World Games channel. Do spread the word, click the like button, and share the links around if you can. I'd like to say a massive thank you to our sponsors Discraft and VC as well.
And with that many different ways to watch the games, you've got no excuse to not tune in, really.
We really haven't. We do hope you've enjoyed the coverage from myself, Tom Stiles, Benji Rees, the whole Ulti.tv crew. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back with more action as we rock and roll on the Praia da Rocha, coming more soon.